listening to We Korea, your English station in Koreatown. I'm your host, Ginseng Baby Kelly Che. Well, every week we're here with Edward Hong, who is a personal development expert. Edward 씨, 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. Good morning.
Now, welcome back.
Thank you so much. It feels so good to be back.
Well, continuing from last week's conversation, we're talking about some personal development. But what I thought about last week, we don't have a segment name. We just talk about all this information, but we don't really have title like Kelly 씨, Edward 씨, but we don't really have a title.
That sounds good.
Okay, well, Kelly 씨 and Edward 씨.
Sure, yeah.
Well, did you think about anything for a segment title?
Yeah, this is about personal growth.
Okay.
And personal growth is many things. There's physical growth and mental growth.
Right.
But what we get to talk about here that is a power of mind.
Uh-huh.
And I think, I thought about other titles also. We could talk about empowering. We will talk about empowering, and we'll talk about transformation of our mind.
Uh-huh.
And that's all
title is
good.
that long?
Yeah, they're all good. But I think power of mind will give a really vivid,
Nice. Power
succinct
of mind.
way of what we are talking about. So I like power of mind.
Power of mind.
Yes.
All right. Well, I agree. Power of mind. Is there a song name? Power of Love.
Power of love.
Power of love. Power of love.
Yeah.
But Power of Mind. I like it. I like it. Okay. So, Power of Mind by Edward Hong. I like the title. Okay. So, with our new title, Power of Mind, it just hit me. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about this news from this lady who was missing for 17 days in Hawaii. It was a pretty amazing story. Did you see that news?
I did.
Uh-huh.
Actually, that really caught my eyes because I think her name was Amanda Eller, correct?
Oh, yeah, right.
Amanda Eller. And
right.
she was a Hawaiian hiker,
Uh-huh.
and she was lost for 17 days.
Wow.
I think it was in Maui. Wasn't it Maui forest?
It was a long time.
Yeah,
17
days. And it was, there are many stories that she was saying, but it's a big area. I think it's over 2,000 acre of land. And then she just focused.
Uh-huh.
She was out there doing a little bit of walking. So, but what caught my attention is that a few things that she was saying. It was like amazing, because this is excellent example of how the power of mind victors through the extreme disaster like what she went through.
Uh-huh.
And she said that she struggled so much of a dark time in the first 14 days. Yet she managed to overcome the life-threatening adversity like that.
Human is amazing, isn't it?
Like I always tell my students and my clients, you're always more than who you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And your mind is total limitless.
Uh-huh.
And that's the belief that I build up for myself just seeing my clients transforming themselves.
Right.
And expanding the boundary of their powers. And they get what they get to have, they deserve.
Yeah, I remember Amanda said one thing, I chose life.
Yes.
That kind of tells me everything.
It is.
Yeah.
Let me look to that quote. This is what she said. Let me read it out from here. She said, there were times of a total fear and loss and wanting to give up.
Uh-huh.
And it did come down to life and death. Mm-hmm. And I had to choose. And I chose life.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the power within her. And people ask me why you do personal development and personal growth, and why do you practice it like every day? And first of all, they ask me how often do we practice personal development?
Uh-huh.
And I asked them back. I said, how often do you take showers?
So once a week.
Once a week. Okay. There are people like that too.
Sorry. Once every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I'd like to talk a little bit more about her because she's amazing
things
that she did, and then she shared in her interview. And there's a few things that I like to point out because this is just a very powerful thing.
Right.
And if you listen to the words, the vocabularies and phrases that you utilize in communicating an interview, you know, the people there who practice personal development and personal growth every day, you could hear the clues there where she's coming from her internal heart.
From
thought.
words.
Yeah, from the words. How and what she was focusing on throughout the journey, she considered as spiritual boot camp. She keeps saying spiritual boot camp.
Wow.
The way she labeled that adversary as a spiritual boot camp, meaning that it's already telling her that this is not the end of her life.
Right.
She's taking it as like a process of life.
Right.
This is a process for me to accomplish a mission. Mission, so-called, as she says, my purpose is to wake up people to choose their life. That's her life purpose that she's been sharing at the interview. And as she was going along through the woods, she also said about which wolf do I feed.
Wow.
And that's one of the stories that come out on one of the book. I think it's a possibility of law of possibility from the gentleman named Zendler. He was a conductor of orchestra with Chicago at one point, and he was also being a powerful personal development speaker out there. And the story was that there's this Indian chief was sitting with his grandchild, and then he was just teaching him about the life. And then he says, like, grandson, there's two wolves that are living in our mind, within us, and one is a bad wolf, and the bad wolf has all those fears, angers, and resentments, and all those bad things in him. Right. And there's a good wolf that has all the love and passion and compassion, all those good things in their life. And then your life will direct you to which wolf that you feed on. So that's what she was saying. I had choice to feed on the bad wolf, but I chose to feed on that good wolf.
Wow.
And she become, she survived through that. So it's the language. I mean, the language that she utilized. If I pick the language, the vocabularies that she said, I remember she says it was an opportunity to overcome. She said it's just a journey. And she said being victim versus choosing life and take action. And she says choose life every single step she was taking. And it was opportunity to choose life, inspiration, and she was stoked to be in earth. And she was full of gratitude.
Wow. I mean, when I hear her, what she's saying, you can tell she has such a strong mind. And then I'm just wondering, there's a certain people who were born with strong mind, or strong mind is really kind of formed by trained?
That's a good point. She also said she practiced spirituality for the last 4 years, and she said lately she had like a very powerful coach and teacher to develop her spirituality. So she wasn't born that way. Nobody's born that way. I mean, actually, let me cross that. We were actually born as powerful being, and sometimes the history of our life sometimes let us prevent to be that, but that's a different story.
Right.
But again, yeah. So she actually sold herself to herself.
Right.
To be powerful. A human being is like meaning-making machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The event happens are neutral. We're the one who take a choice of how are we going to describe it to the good or describe it as a bad. Am I going to see this as an opportunity, or am I going to see this as a failure? Am I going to give it up, or am I going to just take it as a process to move up to the next level? And that all comes to like a language that she utilized. I remember there's an Australian philosopher named Ludwig Wittgenstein. And he said, this is one thing that I really love what he said, that it sums it up everything. The limits of my language mean the limits of my world.
Oh, okay.
So that's what the personal development is. It's personal growth comes from the words that you get to utilize to describe your life. And our word does not just describe our life, but our word actually create our life.
Yeah.
So the words that she was saying to herself, that she was feeding that wolf in her, the good wolf, it pulled her through and give her hope every day when she was going through the adversity. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not only to live in United States, any country in the world, if you are a powerful speaker with the few words, that's one of the most powerful thing I've ever seen. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Amanda Eller, she is pretty amazing.
She
was
is
so
amazing
impressive.
soul, yes.
And I'm sure she is even stronger now with that experience. And she has totally, the point of view about everything is going to be different than before. And just amazing.
That's just like she said, it's a journey to her. I mean, there's a layer. We call it hierarchy of levels of a transformation in personal development industry. There's a layer of levels that you change to really get the ultimate change and transformation. And one of them is the basic one is an environment.
Right.
If you want to change, if you want to lose your weight, you change your environment first.
You're talking to me?
No. That's an example. No,
I'm
never.
just kidding. Yeah, but it's up to your mind, everything. So it's a human brain. It's a pretty amazing thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so we're learning about Power of Mind by Edward Hong, who is a personal development expert. And you're listening to We Korea. We will be right back. Okay, we are back. We're listening to We Korea. We are Power of Mind by Edward Hong, who is a personal development expert. Okay, Edward.
Yes.
You gave me this little note about script, and you have all these very difficult words, and I'm not an English speaker, so I don't know what to ask. You are English speaker, but I'm not. Okay, so let me ask you, what is the hierarchy of layers in transformation?
Good question. Very good question.
You gave me the question.
Because actually it's not a label. It's a step of changing.
It just sounds so big.
Yeah, we like to make it important sometimes, but what it is a steps of changing. Like when you set a goal, and when you want certain kind of outcomes, and obviously we know everything has to do with our mindset, correct? And this is kind of way of stepping stone every each way to build yourself up to ultimate transformation.
Okay.
And there are more than few steps. And this will perfectly make sense. It's not like any hard to understand vocabularies or phrase or anything like that, like a title. It's actually a step of transformation, easily saying. So when you decide to set a goal, or when you decide to take yourself up to next level of transformation, taking on your personal development, so you could have what you want to have, and so you could become who you want to be, or you could do whatever or that you want to do in your life. First thing you get to do is change the environment.
Okay.
It's very easy term.
Really?
It is a very easy term.
Give me
Because
some example. It's
yeah,
still very.
I'm going there right now.
Yes,
The-
yes, yes,
it's the let's say you want to lose
Mhm.
10 pounds,
Okay.
right?
That's a specific goal.
Yes.
Yes.
So first you change your environment, meaning that you there's a reason why you gain a little bit of weight. Maybe
Yes.
you're eating or binge eating certain
Chimek
foods, chips, potato chips and things like that, sodas and things like that. So you open your you go into the kitchen
Yes.
and you change your environment. You when you go to your market shopping,
Yes.
you buy things that's organic and raw. That's
Uh-huh.
good for your health.
Uh-huh.
They will not help you to gain weight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
get rid of all the soda.
get rid of all the sodas, and you open the pantry, and then you look in there that what's been there that you've been taking occasionally or more than occasionally, it's not helping you losing weight.
Okay, well that
This
helps.
is,
That
easy as
definitely
that.
change your
Or
environment.
you open your refrigerator and there are things that you're eating, maybe too much fat or butters or
all those are processed food and
yes, and samgyeopsal sometimes, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you change your environment first.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the first step.
Okay.
And the second step is, second layer of the hierarchy is a behavior.
Uh-huh.
You change your behaviors. Yeah, meaning that if you want to lose weight, you're gonna have to go to gym
Yes.
and work out. That's the
No.
common thing people do.
No.
Or you get on your running short and then you should start having a regimen of physical exercises every day. So you're doing different things. You're changing your
Than before.
behaviors before.
Yes.
So that's the two lowest step
Uh-huh.
of the transformational hierarchy.
Right.
And then after that, after you master that, next step is a potential, we call. Potential meaning that now you're changing the things that you know need to change.
Yes.
Now potential is something about that you get to educate yourself from something that you don't know.
Uh-huh.
Or either you hire a coach or you're a personal trainer to help you to certain things that you didn't know. So you could build more potential in your mindset.
So just
to
go a little
help
bit
you.
further. Yeah.
A little bit further, take it up to another notch,
Uh-huh.
right? And then when you have a potential, there comes the next step. Next step is a belief.
Uh-huh.
You start to having a different belief system because now you could do 25 sit-ups that you couldn't do
Uh-huh.
2 months ago, and you could lift that weight that you couldn't lift 2 months ago. Right? So you start to having a belief that I can do it. I can make it.
But it sounds like a belief is something, it should be step one, no? You should have from the beginning.
I would say yes, you believe helps,
Uh-huh.
but the belief in the first step, belief is there also, but it's more so to the commitment, your determination. And more compelling of your determination is you take steps higher and easily have taken up to next step. Right?
Okay.
So you when you have that belief system within you that you can do it and then you are powerful enough to take on that kind of regimen.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And then you're starting to build that into value system. The value system, the definition of value is what's important to you. And the values are really important in our life because we do what we do every step of the way and every minute of the time that we make a decision based on value. What I'm saying is that, let's say you come home after work, but sometimes we bring work at home, right? And then you have to do that work,
Yeah.
right? But when you get home, you're so tired, you just want to sit on the sofa and starting to being like, what do you call it? Couch potato.
Right.
Sometimes.
Well,
right?
you have to do it, but you don't want to do it.
You
basically.
don't want to do it, right? But because of that, you make a decision of yourself that instead of I'm attacking that work that I had to be done, you make a decision to just sit on a sofa and kind of take it easy. Sometimes that gets to be, longer than you thought, and then it hinders from the work
next
that you have to be done. Yeah. So in that moment, you're asking yourself, what's important to me right now?
Uh-huh.
Is the resting important to me, or is the work important to me?
Mm-hmm.
So we make a decision based on what's important to us at each moment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the value kicks in. So when you have all this belief, and then you are pumped and passionate about changing yourself, losing your weight, your value changes. It's like, no. I have to get on the running short, and I got to get out and running 5 miles. That's more important to me at this moment.
Oh.
Than sitting on a sofa and kick back for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and you decide not to go.
Right.
Right.
This is just a one example, right?
It's a one example. Yeah. So that's a value. And after you reach up to the value hierarchy, then we call identity.
Uh-huh.
Your identity completely changes. Because now you're telling yourself, I'm a powerful, strong, passionate, to be healthy and physically fit. So that kind of identity it gives to you. And then after you being on that identity layer, and then there's another level up, that's the highest level on a layer. We call it either spirituality or purpose of life. So the purpose of life is that it's something like when you know your purpose is to wake up the people for their life, to choose life, just like Amanda Eller. Right?
Right.
Then you change everything because it's the highest level up there. And when you master, or you're delving into for last 4 years, learn how to being a master of spirituality, something like that, like Amanda Eller, then everything under it, like identity, value, belief, and your potential behaviors and environment totally changes too. So that's what we call hierarchy of transformation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see what's Amanda's next job, because she is a yoga instructor and a physical therapist. I could see she's going to do a lot of public speaking after this incident, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. She's going to utilize this because her purpose is to wake up people to choose life.
Right.
And that's what she really wanted to do in her unconscious mind.
Right.
So now she get all this power, and she took on the next step up to, because she already changed the environment.
Right.
She already behaved differently based on her belief system, and then she already have a different strong value and a belief, and then complete change in her spirituality and really clear about her purpose of life. So I'm just stoked to see what's her next step will be.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of are anxious to see. So, you're listening to We Korea is Power of Mind by Edward Hong. So, Edward Shi, I heard you've been studying some of a K-pop song for this show. Is that true?
I love BTS. Those guys are amazing. How do they do that? Were they born?
Man, you're one of the army, aren't you?
Amazing. I mean, I can't even copy what they're doing. I tried it one time and I almost hurt myself.
Can you imagine when you moved here from Korea, these kind of things happen? Probably it's hard to imagine even 10 years ago, right?
Of course. And I'm so proud of those guys, going around the world and just shine Korea.
Okay. Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So what's your request?
So I picked a song. Because I love those guys, and I want to share with with our audience.
Okay.
Here's a song from BTS, and the name is "Make It Right."
Korea go wherever K-pop lovers go. We're talking about power of mind with Edward Hong, a personal development expert. Okay, so for break, I just took a nap because we'll do some stretch. So earlier segment that we talked about the hierarchy of layers in transformation, and I thought about doing all these kind of things. First thing you have to do when you say, you have to have a goal, right?
Yes.
So when you talk to your client, you make them set the goal first?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. But here's my question. So they're all there to listen to you because they already interested in these kind of topics.
Mm-hmm.
So set the goal. I think it's not the biggest issue here. It's the bigger issue here is you set the goal and you just cannot achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the bigger issue. How could you help these kind of a client?
Oh, that's why there are coaches out there helping them out, right? That's our job, to help them to achieve whatever they want to achieve.
Right. There's all different kind of client, right?
Yeah. Goal setting method is it's just a logical, conscious plan that you're planning up to what you want to have in your life. Yeah. So the real proportion is your mindset. Everything has to do with a mindset. If you want to play a golf amazingly, then you need a mindset.
Right.
You want to be an amazing salesman, there's a way to do it, but your mind has to pull through it.
Right.
Everything has to do with the mindset. Same as a goal setting.
Right.
You could goal set amazing. There's a many way of setting a goal. You could just set a goal, grandiose goal, and then you have a lot of outcomes in the midst of it to make, utilize it as a checkpoints.
Right.
You can make it like amazingly, beautifully, just completely, really achievable outcome, plus the grandiose goals and all that in a beautiful, amazingly looking book.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But if your mindset don't have it to pull through that, if you don't have a passion, you don't have a reason, you don't have all those proportion to pull you through that, it's just a piece of paper.
Let me ask you this. So more people need your help to set the goal or to help to achieve the goal?
Help to achieve the goal. So what we do as a coach is, when we're coaching, we hold them accountable. And held them accountable, but there are a lot of times that they are going against obstacles, objections, and all those things comes up on their life. It's hard for them to achieve like even easy goals. And that has a lot to do with the mindset. And our mind is built into to absorb so many informations in life, and then when you deal with so many, you're overwhelmed, and when you're overwhelmed, it changes your emotions. And when you're really sad, or when you are really sometimes angry or upset, it's hard for you to like come home and put the running short, and then go out there and enjoy running to lose weight as you planned it in your goal, that what you're supposed to do that moment, right? So that's really the meat part of coaching.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me put it this way. We have hindrances in our mind that prevent us to do what you set up to do. But sometimes you can go that way because you're emotionally not set into that moment, right? So there are, first thing I do actually when that comes into their life, I help them to eliminate those emotions. I call it negative emotions.
So basically empty the mind?
Empty the mind and help you to eliminate all those negative emotions coming to you at that moment, whatever the reason is. And the negative emotion is combination or each of these negative emotions that come up to you, which is fear, anger, sadness, guilt, hurt, and shame. So that's the basic negative emotions that we have in our life, or combination of certain things. They come up to you, they'll prevent you from to have or go pursue what you want to have according to your goal setting.
But I mean, call me crazy, but I mean, how could you get rid of those kind of things? And it's not in your brain, it's somebody else's brain.
Well, that's why we call ourselves coaches. Yeah. There are techniques. There are techniques in the neuro-linguistic programs, and there are techniques from experiential trainings, and I'm also a certified trainer of hypnotherapy, so I help them utilizing, integrating all these tools that I have and help them to go over, surmount their obstacles to
I know, but it's still, how can I say, it's still very abstract. It's easier to say, and then I guess it's a case by case, but could you give me just one little example?
Yes. I'm a believer of that human being have all the resources they need within us.
Okay.
And I mean, I could explain to you in many different ways. However, there's a book called Flow, and this was written by a gentleman, Hungarian sociologist and a philosopher, and also psychologist. Actually, he was the head of the department of a psychologist in Chicago. His name is Mihail Csikszentmihalyi. That's hard to pronounce. He said human mind observes, believe it or not, 2 million bits of information per second.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because we cannot use all that, there's a filter system that goes through in our mind, and we could only hold 127 bits of information.
A second?
A second.
Oh, that's still a lot.
Still a lot. So bits of information means that, it doesn't mean that 127 things. A bit means like a computer language. So 127 bits of information means there's a 7 chunk of information that you could think about. That's why the phone number is 7. Because if we think about, 127 bits of information is like 7 plus minus 2 chunk of informations.
Well,
meaning
phone number is 10.
Well,
it was 7 in Korea, but
yeah.
these days is 8.
So I was going on a little tangent there, but the thing is that boy, I actually lost the track on mine.
Example. Little Alzheimer moment.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll help you.
So we're overwhelmed all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I got it. So the thing is that we have all the resources that we need within us. So meaning that when we having negative emotions, and we feel upset, when we feel angry, then and when we don't feel like doing anything because we are down or something like that.
Example.
Let's say that you are going to. Well, let's say that you are going to go see your mother with your wife. You're visiting your in-laws. Let's put it that way. And as you're on the way to going to their home, you had a little bit of argument with your wife.
Okay.
And you kind of feel like you don't really feel like to go. And even if you go, you don't even really feel like
agitated and
open up and be show them you guys are happy and all that. So in that moment, what I'm saying about the research that we have within us is that if you reach into your mind and go back to the time that you felt really happy with your wife, and in that moment, there's a little technique that I utilize all the time is that you go back into that moment and then you just really live in that moment. Okay. Meaning that, the human being, we create our reality by senses. The visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, which is a feeling. So how the way that we feel our emotions are created by this visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, which is a feeling, meaning that what we saw right now, what are we hearing right now, and how we feel in our moment, that creates a reality. So you go into that moment of your being happy and really, loving with your wife, and then you close your eyes and go into that moment and go, you go through that experience with what you were seeing in your mind and what you're hearing in that moment, hearing what your wife says or what you're telling yourself or what you're feeling about your wife, right? And then you live in that moment, experience that experience for maybe about like 10 seconds. And then when you open your eyes, your emotion changes.
Okay.
And you could deal with that.
But I mean, it works for some people. It works like a less for some people.
It depends on how much you really live in that moment, or how stronger of that emotion of that situation in back that you choose to experience that moment. Yeah, so it's about decision also.
Right.
You choose to do that. And if you think that you really need that kind of resources within you right now as you're driving to your in-laws, or certain things that you like to do or tell them or something that you need to really brighten up, to get, when you get there, have that kind of emotions, then you choose to one of the things that you really feel love for your wife, and that could change your emotions. Yeah. Okay. Does that make sense?
I'm trying. And I'm honest.
Well, that's one of the things that I do when my client comes in a really bad mood. Before I really get into deeper unconscious techniques, I tell them, let's just try this first. Do you have a moment in your life that you feel really love about your life? Why don't you go back to that? And then go into your body and then see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel the feeling of the really loving your wife at that moment. And experience that experience for about 10, 15 minutes, 15 seconds, and live in it. And I'll let them experience that, and then when they open their eyes, most of the times they kind of go change their emotions. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll change the topic a little bit. So what we're going to talk about next week, what kind of a format are we going to do?
Next week, I'll bring another case of one of my clients, and we'll kind of study how that happened, and how I handle, and how she get to have the way that she wants to have on situations. Okay. Yeah.
And then you're going to bring some reference?
I'll bring the reference of a book.
Okay.
That will help you.
Yeah, I thought you mentioned that earlier,
the discovery of yourself, or help you to transform yourself easily and effortlessly.
Yeah, that'd be great, because a lot of people these days they want to kind of get more information, not just only from internet, but actually I'm surprised that a lot of my friends around me, they are readers, and then like you said last week, leaders are readers.
Readers, yes.
So it might be very helpful too. All right. Well, thank you so much for today.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you every week, hopefully. And then we are here with Edward Hong, Power of Mind, a personal development expert. And I'll see you next week, Edward.
Yes. Live passionately. Thank
고맙습니다.
you.
Thank you.